Hello YouTube and welcome to Jarod997's Guide to Farm Sim 15. This video is for the XKCD crowd and everyone else. Yes, this means there may be and will likely be some math involved. In this episode, it is not that complicated. So if you want to watch through, that's great. Today we are looking at how to measure field size. And yes, you can actually measure how big the fields are. If you're one of these people who kind of shy away from math, you say just want to get me to the good stuff, click on this link here at the bottom that says get me to the important stuff. And here we go. So why do we want to measure the field size? We can measure to find out the starting field sizes. There are 3 fields in Bjornholm and 1 field in Westridge. They don't give us the field sizes, so how are we supposed to figure out how big they are? Well, we can measure them to verify the given sizes, and I did find 2 fields that didn't match some sizes that I've seen in data sheets on the web, and because you can, it's kind of fun. Here we go, Bjornholm. Here's all the list of different fields, and there are lots of them, 41 different fields. Field 24, we start with this one. How big is it? Don't know yet. 29, it's a smaller field, kind of fun to play around with. Don't know how big it is. And 38, kind of often left field, pardon the pun. There they are, Westridge. Field 16. These fields are a lot bigger. Even your starting field 16, it's pretty big, but don't know how big it is yet. Let's go. First we have to consider the word hectare. All the fields are measured in hectares. So where does this come from? It comes from the word hecto and air. Hecto meaning 100, metric prefix 100, and air meaning an area of 10 meters by 10 meters or 100 square meters. Yeah, it's kind of a weird word. It's an old French word, but yes, it's actually a unit of measure. 10 meters by 10 meters is an air. It's actually not that big. You can kind of say to your friends, hey, my yard's like 15 airs big. Kind of weird. Anyway, the last point here, hence we have 100 units of 100 square meters or 10,000 meters squared. So you take 100 times 100, 10,000. It's easy. 1 times 1 is 1, and you have 4 zeros. You end up with 10,000 meters. Hectare. 100 units of 10 by 10 meters. Here's visual. So if one of these squares is 10 meters by 10 meters, that's 100 square meters per single green square. You go 10 squares by 10 squares, and you end up with 10,000 square meters. If you want some more information, there's the Wikipedia reference there. I'm sorry, it's not a clickable link. In our in-game here, there's the coordinate system in the upper right corner of the mini map here. You can see the number there. That grid system is on meter. It represents a meter grid. That means every time you take a step 1 meter in the X or Y direction, those numbers will change, which is kind of handy. Yep, right there. So I'm going to take this rectangle here as representative of Westridge Field 16. It's the same aspect ratio, and we're going to demonstrate this. So if we walk to one corner of the field, we see the coordinates are 1260 by 1303. Corner A. There it is on the rectangle here and in our list. Walk up to corner B, 1050 by 1434. Okay, let's add that to our table. Take the absolute difference. That means we're taking the absolute value of the difference. 210 meters. That's a length by 131 meters. Length the other way. Multiply X and Y together. That gives us 27,510 square meters. Wonderful. Oh yes, divide by 10,000. 2.75 hectares. Wow, that was not really that hard. Let's actually have a look at this in-game here. So here we are in Bjornholm Map 41. We're right beside the biogas plant at the bottom here. So we're going to walk over to the one corner doo-dee-doo, and you can see the numbers up in the top of the map. They're changing. All right, walk to the corner of the field. What we want to do here is get the edge of the field kind of lined up in the middle. Now looking at the grids here, we're just going to nudge left and right and see if we can get just one number to change. And if it doesn't change so much, we're going to take that number as being correct. So I think this is about in the corner here, 1286 by 1711. So I've written that down and we'll keep it for later. Run to the other corner of the field. Run faster. By the way, if you have a chainsaw in your hand, the game won't let you run. Safety first. It's true. Try it out. Here we are at the other field. Line up visually, front, looking up. Sometimes it helps if you look right down at your feet or look down the straight edge of the field. And again, just look for the numbers not changing so much, approximately in the middle of the screen. Great. 1156 by 1836. There we go. We'll keep that number. Okay, so here we are in 41. 1286 by 1711, corner A. Corner B, 1156 by 1836. Great. The difference of those, 130 meters by 125 meters. We'll multiply them together, 16,250 square meters. Divide by 10,000, 1.63 hectares. So what does the game tell us? When we go to hit buy on that little circle in the middle, 1.62. And you know something? They're pretty much right on. Like, we got 16,250. So I mean, if we drop the 50 square meters, then it would be 1.62. So we round up 1.63. Game says 1.62. I'd say that's a successful test. Kapla. So what happens if we have a complex field size like the L-shaped Bjornholm Field 25? This is just behind the store, if I'm not mistaken. Break the field up into rectangles. There's a big rectangle, small rectangle right beside each other. Great. Measure each rectangle A and B. Add the areas together. And use the corners so you can see on the ground. Oh, this is not by the store. This is probably the first field you'll actually buy. This is the next field up from your starting field. Okay, so use the corners you can see on the ground. The red ones for the smaller section, the yellow ones for the top section. Don't use the X. I mean, you can line up that corner on one side up and down, but you'll have a heck of a time trying to eyeball this edge looking from down here. So don't use that one. Use the opposite corners here. You can see this corner by looking that way and this way. You can see these corners, and you can see the outside corners. There you go. 33. This one is Bjornholm. This one's lower leftish, northeast a bit from the cow pasture. We're going to use triangles in this one. So we'll break the field up into rectangles and triangles. These triangles are an approximation. You can see it, the field does come out a bit here and it goes in a bit here. If we're reasonable within our approximations, you can get a number that's pretty close. So measure A, B, and C, add the areas together, and use corners that you can see on the ground and places that you've already measured. So here's the real first tip. You can use these corners for A. You can see these corners on the ground. The second corner here, you'll kind of see where it is, but remember those coordinates. Remember the XY coordinates from there. So after we have that, we can go to this corner, measure that, and we'll be able to tell what this point is here between A and B, because we've got the Y coordinate from the first, and we've got the X coordinate from what we have down here, and that's a triangle. 1/2 base times height, there's your area. And then we go down to measure C the same way. We can find that point, go measure that point, 1/2 base times height, there's your area there. add them all together. There's your field size. The hidden corner. This is another interesting one. I first saw this field in Westridge. I thought, well, it can't be all that hard. You break it into a few pieces and measure it up. How hard could it be? Well, let's take a look. We could break it into rectangles. A being a large one, B, C. And then I looked at this field, 3 minutes later when I was putting this presentation together. I thought, well, wait a minute. What if they break it up the other way, like this? Well, doesn't make a difference. Total field size is the total field size. So measure A, B, and C. Add the areas together. And here's the hidden corners. Okay, I'll overlay both of these together so it doesn't matter which way you do it. The hidden corners are here. How are we measuring those? So just like the L shape from Bjornholm, you can get this line here by eyeballing the edge of the field, but trying to line that piece up, or even worse, that edge from down here, this edge from over here, difficult to do. If you want to try it and see what you get, great. There is a better way, and it involves some math, very basic math. Here we go. I'll use this overlay here, and then I'll show you the other side, the other way to break up the field, both the same. So we start with this bottom corner, go there, measure that, go to the other corner, measure that, calculate A. Great, there's field 1, or field A. Now go to this point here, take the X point from the X coordinate from the first point you measured, the Y coordinate from the second point you measured, and take that as your first point for B. Then walk over to the other corner for section B. There you go, calculate the size of B. Section C, same type of idea. Take the X coordinate from step 1 or step 2, same thing, same edge of the field. And the Y coordinate from step 4, which is the opposite end of field B. That's the coordinate for there. Walk over the opposite corner of C. There you go. There's field C. Add 3 together, A, B, C, done. So the other way is very similar. Measure that corner, there's C. Take your 2 coordinate points from C to get this point in B. Walk over to the other corner, write that down, and calculate B. And then the one corner from A, take your Y coordinate from step 1. So this is sort of backwards. Take Y coordinate from step 1 and X coordinate from step 4. There's your one corner for A, and walk over there, write that down, and there's your area for A. Add A, B, and C together. Or if you feel kind of weird today, add C, B, and A together. See if it gives you the same thing. And this is some data I found from a Game Pressure. I found a lot of useful information on their guides for Farming Simulator when I was just starting out. Some things I thought were kind of weird, but for the most part, wonderful site. I love their guide. Go check it out. There's the link there. On Bjornholm, when I was doing some work, so there's the green sections. There's all the starting fields that I've calculated out. And so the Bjornholm fields, when I was doing some weird work, I thought, well, this is kind of weird. Why is this not working out? So field 25 is supposed to be 1.31 hectares. On the Game Pressure data site, the data is 1.13. Someone probably just swapped a 3 in the one typo. Great. Field 2, there was a problem with that. That was the next biggest error I had. I went over and I measured the field out, and then I realized, oh, I haven't bought it yet. Why don't I just see what the game says? Yeah, it's supposed to be 1.26 hectares as opposed to 1.12. That made the error go away. A couple notes here. The Westridge fields are on average 3.8 times bigger than Bjornholm. This will make the error of the cost per hectare for each field drop considerably in Westridge. The tables you see here are actually calculated. I took the data from Game Pressure and I dropped it into the price in the area columns. The cost per hectare I have actually calculated from this snippet from the spreadsheet. So the 30,000 you see in Westridge is actually calculated. All the values on the Bjornholm side is also calculated, but they're slightly off because the fields are a lot smaller. The Bjornholm differences are within rounding error. You see the worst field error I have here is field 20. It's supposed to be 1.70 hectares. If you want to get that error down to practically zero, that field size is supposed to be like 1.6921, I think. And that gets it pretty close to 30,000. So, you know, rounding error, yeah, okay, 1.692, it does not round up to 1.70. Depends what the actual field size is. It's under 0.5%. I'm not going to bother go and measure that one out and fuss with 0.5%. Field 12, 0.71. It's almost 0.5%. I calculated that out, and it's actually 0.70671 or something like that to get it practically down to zero. Again, that's within rounding error. I'm happy with all these other values are being what they are. So there is that. We have gone through measuring fields. You can find out what they are, or you can go to Game Pressure, get most of the data from them. Here's some values that are corrected in yellow, missing the ones are in green. If you make your own fields, you want to know how big they are, like some of the other maps, Coldridge Farms, that's an excellent map. You can figure out what the field sizes are, or if they're being incorrectly reported, you think something's kind of fishy, you can measure them, find out for yourself. There you go. In summary, this is the part of the show where everyone jumps to that they don't want to sit through all the math. The map coordinate scale is in meters. The difference between 2 points gives you a length. Remember this formula from school? Yep, 2 points. This is the distance between 2 points. Yep. So here is the actual math. 1286 minus 1156 gives you 130 meters. 1711 from the first point minus 1836 gives you negative 125 meters. Why is it negative? Okay, I'm going to try and keep this very simple. It's negative because we're measuring right to left. This is, or top to bottom. If you measure the other way, left to right, it'll give you a positive number. Swap the two numbers around. 1836 minus 1711 gives you 125 positive. Does the negative make a difference? Nope, not really, because all you're interested in is the distance, not which direction you're traveling. A combination of lengths will give you an area in square meters. There's our two distances. 130 times 125, 16,000 approximately, 16,000 and a quarter square meters. Divide by 10,000 to get hectares. There you go, 16 and a quarter thousand square meters divided by 10,000 is 1.63 hectares, 1.625. And that is it in a nutshell. This has been Jarod997's Guide to Farms in 50